Some cartoon episodes are great because they push the story forward, while others are just so funny that they're considered some of the best episodes of the show. But in Steven Universe, we have one of the most unique cases I've ever seen, an episode that is both deeply reflective and incredibly relevant to the times we're living in an age where it's easier than ever to get overwhelmed by our own thoughts. This episode stands out as one of the best in animation, even without doing either of the things I mentioned at the beginning. But how does that happen? If you've ever been lost in your thoughts, come with me on a journey of self-discovery as we analyze what happens in this Steven Universe episode. The episode starts with Steven trying to make a joke with Connie, pretending to be bald, but she doesn't really react. In case you're not familiar with these characters, here's a quick introduction. Steven is the son of a gem and a human. His mother had to give up her physical form to bring him into the world. As a result, Steven lives with his mother's gem friends in a house by the beach. As the episodes go on, Steven matures and learns how to use his powers better and better. He also makes some real-world friends, one of them being Connie, a girl his age he met once at the beach. She's also the first person Steven is able to fuse with, so in many episodes they train together at the temple, which is exactly what they're doing in this episode. But this time, Connie seemed a little off. She didn't react much to Steven's joke and looked like she was avoiding something, but we didn't know exactly what. Anyway, they fuse and start fighting Pearl's holograms. At first, everything was going fine. Stevanie was defeating everyone with ease, and we even discover her new power, floating, which would become useful later. But then, at one point, when they're about to attack the last hologram, Stevanie loses control of the fusion and they unfuse. Connie runs off crying, and we still don't fully understand why. Steven decides to go after her to find out what's going on. When he does, we finally learn the truth. Connie was at school and accidentally bumped into a guy. As a reflex from her training, she instinctively grabbed and threw him to the ground. The situation hurt her deeply. It was such an intrusive thought for Connie that she couldn't stop thinking about it. How she had just messed everything up in that moment. Even though she tried really hard to forget about it and move on, it just wasn't working. Steven even tells her to do exactly that. When he overthinks something, he just tries to forget it. But let me tell you right now, that's terrible advice. Ironically, by the end of the episode, it's Steven who ends up learning the biggest lesson. Anyway, Garnet, who's basically the #1 person when it comes to handling emotional situations, shows up and invites them both to the beach, where she teaches them a valuable lesson about emotional control in one of the show's best songs. In fact, that song is often remembered even more than the episode itself. And it's no surprise, it's a peak audiovisual moment, complete with frame rate manipulation that makes the characters move more fluidly or heavily, depending on how they're handling their emotions. But what I want to focus on isn't the song itself, but what's shown during it. It tends to be overshadowed by Garnet's amazing voice, but what's visually portrayed in that song is just as brilliant as the lyrics. The butterflies represent all the thoughts pulling us away from our focus. And here, we see different ways the characters deal with them. Ruby focuses all her rage and energy on a single thought, which disturbs her a lot. She can only focus on other tasks after she's dealt with her own internal problems. Sapphire, on the other hand, she's someone who, when thinking about one bad thing, ends up self-sabotaging and spiraling into hundreds of other thoughts that completely throw her off. She can only move forward once Ruby helps her sort through those thoughts. What was happening with Connie, as someone who wasn't handling the situation very well, is that she stored her thoughts away, putting them metaphorically on top of her backpack. But even when she hides them and genuinely tries to push them all down, one of them always ends up breaking free and bothering her. And when one troubling memory gets to her and she starts thinking about it, all the others break loose too, causing her to lose control completely. The solution, in her case, is to confront that memory head on. Once she realizes that everything that happened was just a reflex, that she didn't mean to hurt anyone, and truly faces what happened, she's finally able to let the butterfly go. After the song, the episode cuts straight to the beach house, where it's revealed that Connie actually went and faced her fear, making peace with the boy she had hurt. But remember how Steven gave Connie that advice earlier in the episode, saying that the way he handles things is by just trying to forget them. It seems that one of the butterflies was still lingering on Connie's sword from Steven's perspective, hinting that something was about to happen. Then we return to the same orange background as before, but this time with Steven's memories that filled him with guilt, like when he defeated Bismuth and Jasper. But it all really hits Steven when his mother appears, because at that point in the series, in Steven's mind, his mom was very worried, very disappointed in him. In his head, he thought he was only hurting people, and that his mother would be ashamed of that. The final scene of the episode shows the two of them falling from the temple, losing control of the fusion, and it becomes clear that Steven had misunderstood Garnet's advice to them. But now Connie was there to support Steven. She tells him that he needs to think about painful memories, even if they hurt him, because only by facing them instead of hiding from them can he one day move forward. Eventually, Steven agrees with her and decides to confront his memories. They fuse again into Stevanie, this time facing Steven's fears together, as shown in the scene of Stevanie falling into a whirlwind of butterflies, representing Steven's fears. Instead of showing a battle between Steven and Connie against those thoughts, the episode cuts straight to Steven gliding gently to the ground and landing safely. I imagine that's because it's only an 11-minute episode. Honestly, in my mind, they could have added even more if it had been a full 22-minute episode. Do you think so too? comment below and let me know. As Stevonnie lands on the ground, they lie there peacefully, and we get the sense that everything is going to be okay. This episode is often mentioned as one of the best in the entire series, and that's impressive to me because at the end of the day, it could technically be considered a filler episode. After all, technically, it didn't add anything to the main story, although it did deepen Steven and Connie's emotional development. Another thing I find hilarious is that the episode right after this super introspective one is about the Zoltron robot. I don't really have much to say about that one, but in short, if you've been lost in your thoughts lately, try facing them, talk to someone, reach out to the person involved. Just don't do what Steven was doing, and definitely listen to that song from the episode. It's so good. Hey, thanks for sticking with me until the end. It's been such an amazing time for me lately. Even though the last video didn't perform that well, I was really happy making it. I've also been blown away by the little community we're building here. So if you made it this far, consider subscribing. It's free and it really helps me a lot. Likes are also super appreciated. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.